A Village Tale is a unique blend between an RPG and an interactive visual novel. In the game, you are tasked with solving a murder by interrogating and questioning the other villagers in a fantasy medieval setting. Hi, my name is This, and I'm the game designer. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because by blending in roles and choice, you end up with an unprecedented amount of options. Which means you have to rely on your wits, your intelligence, and your intuition to try to figure out what the other characters are trying to tell you, what they're saying between the lines, and what they're lying about. This is not empty dialogue with 4 options that all lead to the same place. This is not that kind of game. You'll be faced with an overwhelming amount of directions to craft your own story in your own way into many possible endings, both good and bad. Alright, that's the elevator pitch of the game. In short, it's a fantasy murder mystery with lots of choice, built around a pretty dark and deep storyline for you to delve into and explore. Okay, maybe this type of game is not for you. Maybe you only play games that involve action and violence. And that's fair enough. But the story that I've crafted, the story that has lived in my head for years now, it's dark, it's mature, as I said, and it also fundamentally challenges how we think about fantasy and character trope. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy literature, and you like the darker aspects of fantasy, then this game is meant for you to delve into, to explore, and to see a different side to these tropes that we're so used to as fantasy fans. So, why am I putting this up for a Kickstarter? Right now, the game is an MVP. That means minimal viable product. The code base is mostly done, the art is mostly done, the GUI, the graphical interface, is needs an overhaul, and the story, I've only implemented the first part of the story, though I've written down most of it. So now I'm kind of stuck with how much I want to add to the game as I finish it. Right now, the game has 3 classes and about 6 endings. And mind you, this is not a tremendous game. It's designed to be played through in a couple of hours. Though the nature of the game gives a lot of replayability, I want the fundamental experience to be like reading a short but engaging book that you get to interact with, and if you read it again, it's a different book. Which is pretty cool, I think. Originally, I wanted to add more classes and more endings and even more characters. But I have to admit, that is not strictly necessary, so I'll leave that for eventual stretch goals. I really thought long and hard about how much money I should ask for. And I originally wanted a much higher number, but I whittled it down to the bare bones, the bare minimum that I would need to actually finish this game as it is. And if the Kickstarter is successful, I plan on releasing the game in the first or second quarter of 2020. I hope this all sounds fair to you, and I hope you choose to help me out. At least check out the Kickstarter tiers. I decided to have some fun with it, and I tried to make them as appealing as possible. Thank you for taking the time to listen.